a director of BUCCI Industries India Private Limited. Vaibhav Nagori, what were some of the roadblocks that hit you unexpectedly?
To be able to believe in what you're doing and then project it with sincere knowledge of your subject was something that helped me pass that.
Did you feel that paperwork and licenses / permissions affect your pace of growth in India?
The paperwork is immense. It's immense to the order that these processes can take anywhere between 6 months to 2 years,
Wow.
if you're lucky, and if you have wise counsel like yourself. But somehow the great thing about India, I think, while we have all of our problems, are these friendly advisors that exist everywhere.
What are the biggest cultural surprises that you have found working in the West, if we say Italy's West, and in India?
India is a complicated business world. I mean, our fundamental problem is overpromise and underdeliver. I mean, this happens on both sides. It's not just one-sided. Yeah. It's not just that your customer is overpromising and underdelivering. It's sometimes you as an organization do also.
True.
So it's become so deep into our business culture that it becomes challenging for an outsider to quickly absorb and adapt to. Sometimes for them to understand that why is somebody committing to this scale and what happened, a year has passed, or 2 years have passed.
Hi, welcome back. I hope you're all well. Today we have a brand new episode of our podcast series, and we have a great guest for you, which I'm very pleased to introduce. Vaibhav Nagori. Vaibhav is an engineer and a master's in international business. He's a director of BUCCI Industries India Private Limited, which is an Italian company in the field of industrial automation and robotics. I leave it to Vaibhav to introduce himself, but in India, he has built this company from ground up, and today he has 18 people in the company, and which is growing very fast under his leadership. So, welcome to our show, Vaibhav.
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you for making me part of this exciting series. And I'm glad to be sitting here today discussing what ought to be. So just to briefly tell you who I am, what I've done, where I've come from. I started off my life as an engineer, as an electrical engineer who was aiming to be a very, very technical person. That was the goal. Well, you give your GREs and you do your masters. This is what I dreamt of. This was Bangalore life for me. Somewhere in the middle, I mean, I got pulled in by the lure of an Italian internship, and which is where it all began. I was picked up to be one of the interns to understand the Italian cultural and social norms and understand their machine tool and manufacturing industry. So the journey started from there, and I subsequently was one of the few people who was chosen to start and understand the business environment of India for BUCCI Industries. BUCCI Industries is an organization which is deep into automation, technology. India is still was at least back then a very, very nascent market. And obviously nobody knew. I mean, I wish I had somebody to guide me what India would be and what this industry would be.
Right.
But I picked up on my own a bit of, when your family is kind of connected to the business world, I wouldn't want to say something pompous here, but you have some sense of business and conducting business, because that's what you've seen growing up.
Right.
And which is what my family taught me. So all of my initial hiccups were kind of mended by this confidence I had from my childhood. And eventually I got to do international business. I built the company's foundation ecosystem in India substantially well to bring it to a stage where the company was ready to come to India, is where our relationship became really important, yeah.
That's true, okay. Great. So, talking about your professional journey,
Yeah.
if you had to describe it in form of a movie, a film, what name would it be having?
I mean, I would be controversial to say this, and excuse me, because there are many meanings to the choice of this movie. If it would be Catch Me If You Can. It's a
Ah,
movie
that's a good.
by Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yes.
and why I would not completely connect it to fraudulent activities, because that's the controversial part. But
Yeah.
the guy could be any professional he wanted to be. All he had to do was skim through, understand it a little bit, and be prepared to project himself entirely as that person. And I think being in a semi-sales business development in a very typical industry, I think I became that person. So I resonated with that life a little bit. And I think, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my choice of that movie. Yeah.
Is it also because Leonardo is an Italian name and you decided, since you work for an Italian company?
Complete coincidence. But yeah, it does work like that. Yeah.
I'll watch that movie again now. So, early stages, early
Yeah.
days, what were some of the roadblocks that hit you unexpectedly?
Roadblocks. I think roadblocks, there would be many. First was to be where BUCCI Industries, our target business is manufacturing industries. And, the blue collar life is very, very rooted. They know their stuff. And to have a 22-year-old kid coming and offering them something, making them invest in something was the primary. So I think age was the primary roadblock.
Right.
But of course, to build up a confidence and to be able to believe in what you're doing and then project it with sincere knowledge of your subject was something that helped me pass that. Other roadblocks would be, let's say, like I said, manufacturing industry has veterans. So people have been working for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So they're very thorough with their skill set, with their know-how. And it's a conservative industry. So I think industry-centric roadblocks existed, which was mostly with people. Uh, of course, Indian business is very different across different states and
Right.
provinces, like you would say in Italy. So to understand the moods of each of these things is like understanding a country on its own too. So it was a roadblock initially because being a person from the northern part of India, starting off in the southern part of India, being accepted firstly as a kid, secondly as a non-native, uh, and then in an industry which respects people who've worked a certain number of years, were the primary roadblocks, I would say.
Okay.
Then I think our country has its brand of being the most difficult to do business in situations. So those broad roadblocks are in plenty. Those are more operational roadblocks, I would say.
I'm not trying to create controversy, but you mentioned that different states had different way of working. But if you had to choose one state which was the easiest for you to work in,
I think safely, I would say Karnataka, although it had its cultural challenges. But the entrepreneurs in Karnataka, I felt, were driven technically and were product centric.
wow.
So if you were true to your offering, they were there to listen to you and understand you.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, the perception of India outside India varies a lot.
Yeah.
Some still believe it's very bureaucratic, and they may be right based on their personal experiences. Some agree that yes, it's changing fast with the onset of digitization. You don't have to fill manually forms and so on and so forth. But did you feel that paperwork and licenses slash permissions affect your pace of growth in India?
I mean, I think we are true to our ranking of ease of doing business, which
Right.
is above 100, because although it's a lot easier to transact with individuals, I mean, when you're conducting a business, a B2B sort of a deal, it's easier to form that deal, but to execute that deal is where the machinery, the infrastructure, and all of the compliances come into play.
Right.
And that is where you're right, because the kind of paperwork we need, the kind of licenses. I mean, there are businesses which require 30 to 40 to 50 permissions and licenses. I mean, theoretically, all of them are mandatory, but practical application, you could hold one and not hold another and still
Right.
continue doing. So even in our sort of businesses where international trade, so customs is involved, international transactions, so RBI rules are involved.
True.
Uh, a bunch of standardizations of equipments are involved. So all of these, although there is a mechanism in place to license yourself to operate it, the paperwork is immense. It's immense to the order that these processes can take anywhere between 6 months to 2 years
Wow.
if you're lucky and if you have wise counsel like yourself. But otherwise, it's a very, I mean, it does not interrupt business. I mean, you're walking on thin line.
Yeah.
You could continue operating because an application for a license permits you to do it. But there could be a point in time, 2 years later, where you're a mature business and suddenly you are not given the license. So you're suddenly at a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a new requirement in India, right? I mean, BIS is a requirement which is absurd. I mean, you already have standards and systems across. You have the CE system, which is very well mature, organized, standardized systems. I mean, of course, we're in international trade. India has to put its strong arm forward, and BIS is probably a mechanism to do it. But I think it's very, very counterproductive to be able to obtain things like that, and for international companies to understand how the bureaucracy would enter into their doorsteps
Yeah.
and be able to move around, meander through that ecosystem is something, it will cause a lot of ripples.
Right.
I mean, we also had to obtain a whole SVB sort of a license to be able to
customs
import and
registration.
customs procedures can really entangle you.
Yeah.
I've had my first ever, when I should be able to tell you this situation, was when I was just new into this organization as a sort of a young kid trying to develop business for them. So 23-year-old suddenly gets his second business deal, and the customer places an order. The machine arrives in India. The customer decides not to purchase the capital good. Now, here I am, the machine is at customs. Every day is an expense at customs. Now, if I don't utilize that machine in a certain number of days, there is an auction for it. Now, here I am completely unguided. I don't know how to meander through this situation. But somehow, the great thing about India, I think, while we have all of our problems, are these friendly advisors that exist everywhere. I mean, they might not be professionally there, but their experience and their will to help you sometimes helps you out of the most challenging situations.
Yeah. In a way, that's a very profound statement you're making.
Yeah.
We have our long list of problems, but we also have formal and informal advisors who can.
The informal system in India, although as overbearing as it can be,
Right.
is a great support system. I mean, we culturally have a huge issue of advising on things we have no knowledge of also,
Yeah.
and to show relevance. But, you know, if you skim through some of that information, you might find good pieces to sail through.
Yeah, some gold nuggets. Yeah. Okay. Today, as I understand, your company has about 18 people.
Yeah.
And you're leading from the front. How were you able to build a team, and how do you make them hold on to your company, the vision, the business, as such?
So yeah, I mean, we're a small company to begin with. I mean, although we do good business, we hold a very dominant market share in the category that we are at. I think my core people came from industry relationships. Industry relationships is people that I've met here and there and just hit off a relationship. My strongest persons is somebody I met in an exhibition where I was just general chit-chatting, and very whimsically I said, why don't you work with us? I think my core people, I would say the strongest person that I had in my team was somebody I met in an exhibition, and we hit it off on general banter, and I said, why don't you come work with us? We're a very, very independent organization. We let people be. We let individuality flourish. And this was something I think he had also observed, knowing about me, hearing about me. So, of course, it's a classical saying, lead by example. But in practice, if your reputation is that, okay, this person's good to work at, is doing something sincere, people tend to want to work with you
Right.
because it's like informality of this country also exists in professional world, where you will come across people who are doing and happy with their jobs, but just because of a personal affinity, they would want to work with you.
Right.
And I mean, our organization was very clear about what it was offering. I think from the beginning, I was very, very clear about maintaining integrity as a fundamental of my company, and not ever saying that, okay, my competitors are bad. No, no, I don't care about my competitors, however they might be. I have to show why I am good. So,
Right.
very honest, honesty first, integrity first, and support first, accessibility first sort of a company. So, because I was always available even for a phone call at 11
Yeah.
p.m. in the night to a machine operator working in a remote part of India, this was known
Your customer.
to by, at my customer. It was known in the industry that this person's there for you when you need
Right.
them. So, to trickle down that kind of an emotion into your entire team
Yeah.
would only be possible if you have been known to doing it
Yeah.
and you've continued to do it.
Yeah.
The moment you are inaccessible, it causes mayhem in the organization and everyone's lost. Yeah.
It's so simple the way you've put it, but yet so many of us forget the simple things of business rules, accessibility, focus on your own strengths and not try to put down your competition by throwing mud at them. And it's wonderful insights.
Thank you.
So if there was a hidden challenge, we talked about paperwork, licenses, permissions. If there was one or a few hidden challenges that now you know very well about, of course, because you've overcome them, what would you like to share with our audience?
A hidden challenge of executing business.
Absolutely.
A hidden challenge of executing business is not knowing what is coming your way sometimes.
Right.
Because the hidden challenge is that you are the front of your company, but your company is doing things that sometimes you discover when you unbox that packet.
Right.
Right? So, how to overcome such situations on the spot is the biggest challenge. I'll quote a simple story where it was again, how most of these things happen in your earlier days, is that I had a certain equipment failure, and these are expensive equipment that we sell, right? So, the customer whose hard-earned money is invested into it, of course, wants the machine to be up and running.
Sure.
My technical team was completely caught off guard to only understand that the fundamental problem lied in the manufacturing defect. It took us 6 months. I mean, today's world, we see Volkswagen recalling 1 million cars and Tata recalling some cars, but early days to have those situations and how to overcome them without destroying your business entirely is something you learn on the job.
Right.
So I think
Okay.
discovery would be one of my hidden challenges.
And so picture a young entrepreneur like you wanting to enter the Indian market. And if you had just 1 minute with him or her, what tip would you give him or her?
What tip? I would say that understand India. India is still one of those countries which is not adopted or transitioned completely to a Western way of working. I mean, a lot of East Asian companies have done it, including China. So understanding Indian nuances and not just jumping into advices given by professional agency who depend on secondary data or secondary market research data. So understand India and its nuances. It's not just a country. It's a mix of cultures and states, and which represents individuality of another level.
Yeah. Wow.
Some people could spend their entire business life just conducting business in one territory.
Right.
and still not understanding the territory completely.
So understanding India is what you're saying before you jump in.
Before you jump in, I mean, you will get a ton of opportunities which are promising, which sound like it's transactional and it'll happen very quickly, but they don't get executed because there are layers within which kind of pull it
Yeah.
down. So
Okay.
take your time, understand the country, don't follow.
The market is not going anywhere.
Yeah, the market's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We've been here for a long number of centuries, and we
Yeah.
will continue being here.
True. I want to talk a little bit about strategic vision and the power of it. So, in your case, how did you decide what your company should stand for? You alluded to some points about being accessible.
Yeah.
Was it because you were not you were inaccessible before, or is it something that you've always followed in your personal and professional life? How did that come about?
So, of course, you have to have a value system of every organization, because that is the only thing that's stringing everything together.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think I've always followed certain principles in life, and I've applied those principles in business world. So
Right.
it's not that I'm different personally, professionally also, and personally also I follow a certain level of integrity, availability, the ability to help people even if you don't stand to benefit from it.
Yeah.
These are the qualities were established as the foundation of our business ethics, let's just say, for India. Because BUCCI Industries is a 70-year-old company. So I couldn't completely, obviously, lay down the vision. But the company fundamentally, even in Italy, is a very clean company, clean, honest company that has a very solid foundation in doing good products and being honest to the market. So it was easy for me because it was in line with the original vision of the company.
Right. Interesting. You talked about value system. And so following your value system, which you laid down, and it was more or less in alignment with BUCCI Industries in Italy or globally, can you give our audience an example where adherence to your value system saved you from a bad or an improper business decision?
Many times. I mean, some things I shouldn't even speak out aloud, but
Something for the camera.
see, several times, I mean, all organizations, as in good, bad, perfect organization, make their own mistakes. It's how you recover from their mistake is where the intent of the organization lies. You could easily blame it on the user, your customer, and escape a situation. This is where your vision comes into play, that you're here for the short haul or the long haul, right? If you've decided that no matter what, my business runs on reputation. My reputation cannot be short-lived. Whether, I mean, we all sometimes work for somebody and we could be selfish and say that, okay, fine, I'm associated with this maybe for 2 years, 5 years, 7 years. I have to look for my benefit. No, the core of everything should be that the organization in the longest period of time till its lifespan in your region should be respected as a place of integrity, as a place of customer support, because we're finally customer dealing, or like all organization.
Yeah.
So you have to be focused on making sure that no matter what, you are there to resolve their problem, whether it gives you a financial hit, which might look cumbersome in the short run. But my experience of, I think now, close to 18 years has shown me that long term it pays off everything that you've ever done.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, quite often, I have seen that the vision, the value system remains restricted to the management level or to the C-class, C-suite. How do you ensure that it trickles down to the person who has just joined and at every level across every business function in your organization?
I mean, the easier answer to that would be induction, which is the standard operating procedure for all new employees. But I mean, that's theoretical, and not everyone wants to read through pages and understand your organization, because they're in their world of hustling and building their careers, and they're focused on generating value for what they're hired. So while as a small team, it's easier for people like me to have a personal relationship and lead by example, where I would sometimes take people along in different situations and make them experience and observe how to be in a certain situations and how to react to certain situations. Uh, but obviously, not all the time that would be possible. And I think as the organization grows bigger, you are more focused on the complex Indian system and administrative work and paperwork. So I would say lay down the rules.
Yeah.
Fundamental rules, don't make them complex. Connect them by example. Each one of them should be connected by example and laid out to your team. Have free interactions. Uh, your create cohorts where one subgroup is directed by you, and that leader of that cohort further trickles down the same value system to the rest of them. Biannual exercises to bring everyone together and make them comfortable, make them feel that they are not a part of a food chain.
Right.
They're all equal, as in, which is something we've learned well from the Western way of working.
Right.
And that is where they open up to you. And if they open up to you, you're there to solve their problems and guide them well.
Right.
I will face more challenges because we are getting more younger people, and Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta are a new world of problem of their own.
Yeah.
But deep down, they all have the right value system. You just have to touch it. So
Right. So while talking about strategic vision of the company, and you mentioned that you will, of course, grow. Today you are 18, maybe 25, 30, 40 in the months to come. Do you think this growth will necessitate a change in the vision of the company, or the vision will always remain the same?
I think vision is something that remains consistent. In I mean, it's also important. I mean, you can't change the vision of a long-term organization to support growth. Of course, there could be ways to achieve that mission. They change with time. The vision, I think, I think the organization has remained consistent for 70 years, where the shifts of industries have taken place.
Yeah.
But I think the vision will not change.
Right. So, come what may, the governments will change, policies will change, technology, products will change, but you were saying that the vision should remain the same.
Yeah, I mean, that's the core of your business. If that shakes, then you have to completely reconfigure. Of course, there are chances that the business moves in a different direction altogether, where, today's, whatever, if Kodak continued doing non-digital photography, they would say that, okay, our vision is to completely do these perfect film-based pictures, but then the format changed, the business world changed, and they had to reorient, realign. So in such circumstances, I'm sure as business leaders, we come together and we pick from the best of the value systems that we wanted to keep intact and then merge them into the modern context.
Right. Okay. So if someone listening to you would like to create its own vision or North Star, if you like, what would you tell them?
I think look deeper into the mission that you have in place. What is that thing that you're trying to solve with your business? Not most people have fundamentally a reason to do the business they're doing. Right. It's not just a transactional relationship. So if they could strip down the value and the mission of their offering, they will be able to come to a clear, identified system of how their organization should go. But of course, it's challenging because in the hustle of life, we just care about building the perfect thing and bringing it to the world immediately.
As quickly as you can.
As quickly as you can, because every minute is money in some way, or an opportunity lost in some way. And it's only that, when you come to a reasonably balanced situation in your nature as business is when you're talking and introspecting and figuring out that what is the core reason of my existence. If you could figure that out sooner, I mean, which most business leaders aspire to do, I think they are able to not only align their business for better growth, but even the people
Yeah.
are fundamentally on the same track.
Right. Very interesting. I want to pick your brains a little bit about this word called culture. A lot has been said, documented, spoken. There are culture consultants, advisors, and so on. But really, you said your career started at the tender age of when you visited Italy for the first time.
Yeah.
Since then, till date, what are the biggest cultural surprises that you have found working in the West, if we say Italy's West, and in India?
India is a complicated business world. I mean, our fundamental problem is overpromise and underdeliver. I mean, this happens on both sides. It's not just one-sided. Yeah. It's not just that your customer is overpromising and underdelivering. It's sometimes you as an organization do also.
True.
So it's become so deep into our business culture that it becomes challenging for an outsider to quickly absorb and adapt to. Um, we also are very non-committal,
Right.
which as a business ethic, it's difficult for an international business, whatever. We all work with some. I mean, I'm not talking about all, but at least I work with a Western organization.
Yeah.
So sometimes for them to understand that why is somebody committing to this scale and what happened, a year has passed or 2 years have passed. So I think overpromise, underdeliver. Again, non-committal. The level of reasoning and asking for something more in India does not stop.
Right.
There's no hard stop. Like if you say that, Vaibhav, I want to do a podcast, and I would say, ki, Vishnu, why? You give me a reason. But I will respond to you till I don't know why am I doing it, but I'm doing it. I've spent sometimes hours to negotiate $5, right, on a transaction of $50,000.
Wow.
Because it's just the nature of our businessmen to
Yeah.
पूछने में क्या जाता है?
Right.
What's the harm in asking one more time?
Yeah.
Now, this is really annoying in business terms globally because you never can set on a deal because there's constant back and forth.
Right.
Now, this is what the Western world is very good with in dealing. If they say something, they stick by it. If you tell them that, okay, the applicable discounting is only this much %, okay, they culturally step back and say that, okay, I have to honor what this person is saying.
Yeah.
I should not try my luck again.
Yeah. Interesting. So how do you find the right balance between what you just mentioned about respecting the terms on one side and the Indian culture for trying your luck? Let me ask one more time. I might get that $5 discount.
Yeah.
How do you strike a balance between the two?
Oof.
Because your customers are in India.
I
your
have to respect
suppliers
them.
are
Yeah,
in the
of
West.
course. My backbone is completely very, very straight line, right? So it is challenging. I would not say there are ways to find a balance, but sometimes you have to be curt. You have to learn how to step back from something. But you also have to completely immerse your organization into understanding what they're dealing with.
Right.
It's like you can't be, it's the same problem between an arranged marriage and a love marriage, right? As
Which
in
is?
an arranged marriage, you're discovering things as you go. But mentally, you're prepared that there will be new things unraveling as the journey goes.
Right.
And love marriage, you know what you're into, so you consistently play that part.
Right.
So to make your organization aware of the challenges is very important. It's finally a conversation between you and them to find a compromise. Like, okay, this is a hard stop, this is where we stay flexible because we are a flexible business environment in India, and
True.
it's completely consistent. Flexibility is something which is consistent across all states.
Right.
People are willing to change anything to suit their needs.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting allusion to marriage. So what you're saying is that better not to get married and avoid everything. No need to be flexible, no need to be rigid.
Since I'm married, I'll refrain from commenting on that.
Okay.
But
You
after
didn't
this
fall for the
conversation, I'll confirm you on that.
Okay. Look forward to it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about culture within your own organization, that is BUCCI Industries in India.
Yeah.
Now, individually, we are all unique. We come from different ecosystems, different backgrounds. How do you ensure that the same culture that you have created or learned or have in your mind is percolated down to the last person in the company?
See, I have a very good anecdotal evidence of something like this. I remember watching this movie called Up in the Air by George Clooney, and you know he's in the airport queues one time, and he has his young associate with him.
Yeah.
So he's quickly telling her that, okay, if you stand behind Asians, this is the problem. If you stand behind old people, this is the problem. If you stand behind people with families, this is the problem. So you have to be in these queues because they are the fastest moving. And this young associate is baffled. They're like, how could you stereotype like that? And she's asking, like, this is so rude to think like that. And he says, stereotyping, my mom says, it makes life easy. So India, if you break it down to behavioral aspects of certain region, certain type of people, you could completely be right 90% of the times. So within your team also, if you've understood that certain people come from, like we interview and we ask people, right, from hobbies to your background to your education, we are generalizing at each step. Right? We're picking up practices from each of those experiences that shape them. Now, if you apply them correctly, 90% of the time you'll sail through.
Right.
So while I have people from different parts of the country and different subcultures, I would say, to be able to say that, okay, this person's strength could lie in doing this.
Right.
And I push them towards that kind of a conversation or that kind of a role. If I have to deal with a certain kind of business or certain kind of situation, I know who is best suited, even if it's not their KPI to do it.
Okay.
I would say that, I'll push you forward. You're my frontline soldier. Deal with it. And it works most of the time. So, but having said that, it's important to understand the cultural nuances of the country.
Sure.
I have lived across, whatever, I'm born in Rajasthan. I've spent a whole lot of time in Bombay. So Maharashtra is a culture I understand well. Spent a good 10 years in Bangalore. So traveling around the southern territories, having local relationships kind of make you understand. And then further, a general tendency to travel and be exploratory and be social and extroverted makes you understand things. So I'll give you another interesting, fun theory that I've derived. Like, I travel wherever, right? So my theory is to go to a supermarket on a first day. So it's my supermarket theory. A supermarket tells you everything about their culture, in what sequence things are placed, what kind of things are placed in the levels of consumption. So a consumption tells you about the people of the place. And then apply a little bit of generalization, stereotyping that region, that culture, and you're ready to roll. And then have conversations. So, to understand deeper cultural nuances is important for complicated countries like India. I mean, I would say that if you're working in a organized Western European world, you have to take an A for an A. So it's very straightforward, right? You win there on your strength. You don't win there on cultural. In India, business is purely, a majority of business is relationship and forming that connect based. And for that, you have to understand the country
culture.
really well. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. This understanding of culture, or rather the lack of it, ever create a kind of almost a deal like falling apart because there were cultural misunderstandings on either side?
It does, hugely does. I mean, I have several examples of regions which I did not understand well because I could not understand the people I was dealing with.
Right.
And long story short, I've come to a point where I don't deal in that region because you as a human being can't crack everything. But you figure out that one individual in your organization who's built to do that.
Right.
So if you've consciously created the right mix of people, and there are situations I don't even come forward that these people are dealing with everything. So yeah, there are situations where you will fail. So you need to know who's your best soldier to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need sometimes a sniper and a force operating person. No? They can't be the same people. Yeah,
Guerrilla warfare.
yeah, guerrilla warfare people.
So, from all these serious topics, let's switch to something more fun and let our listeners also relax a little bit. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions which deserve just a one word or maximum a phrase reply. Ready?
Okay.
Let's start with simple ones. Tea or coffee? Or maybe something with some alcohol.
I think red wine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Any particular brand that you want to disclose?
I like Sangiovese grape, so that's my consistent, and it has nothing to do with my Italian connect. It's a natural affinity I've formed.
If you were to move abroad from a long-term perspective, which is that one Indian food that you will dearly miss?
Sev puri.
Really?
I think I could live my year on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, can you make it yourself?
I have learned to because I know I will be in that situation one day.
One Western work habit that India should copy?
Keep your phone away while you're working. Keep your home at home.
Right.
You know, why I say it? Because if I'm sincerely onto something, we have our relatives, our family situations, our home breakage situation, our plumbing, electric, all sorts of situations interrupt your day. Your productivity is 1/3 then from a Western employee only because we're stuck in these home affairs.
Right. Now the opposite. One Indian work habit that Westerners should emulate.
Flexibility.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that. Right. A business leader, Indian or foreign, that you'd love to have dinner with.
Elon Musk.
Why?
He's trying to create what I've only seen in movies that Arnold Schwarzenegger made. So he thinks beyond. He's not solving today's problem. He's creating his own category.
Right. Outside India, the biggest myth that exists about doing business in India.
It's a large population. The business potential is huge.
Right. And the last one. If you had to start all over again, is there anything that you would do differently? If yes, what do you think it would be?
If I would do anything differently, safer answer would be no. I mean, the reason I'm saying it is because fortunately or unfortunately, I haven't moved roles.
Right.
So professionally, no.
Okay. Good. So we're just about to wrap up.
Yeah.
And before we do that, what's that one thing that you would like to let every business owner listen to as a takeaway from this podcast? What would you like to say to them?
I would tell them to be completely connected with their business. I mean, knowing your business inside out is very important. We are in times where attrition and transition from one role to another or vertically, horizontally, across industry, across organization is prevalent. So sometimes while we may have the best skill set for that role, but if we don't understand the business through the core and have the ability to do every aspect of the business yourself.
Right.
Whether it's you should be capable of handling every aspect of the business yourself should there be crisis tomorrow. If you have figured that out, you're undefeatable in your line of business.
Wow. So be totally involved, connected.
Yeah. Don't have a high level information of things.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, CEOs are expected to look at the vision and larger growth prospect, but you don't become CEO overnight.
Exactly.
You've hustled through your life to get there. I mean, the few lucky ones would jump up there.
Right.
But since you've hustled, you should have been touching every aspect of the business at some stage to know that, okay, I can understand a contract really well legally. I can understand this policy framework very well legally. I can understand a HR problem really well. And I can goddamn well solve a technical issue with my product if it's required to.
Right.
Or apply the right mind to it. So
Very interesting. Very nice.
I think that's what I would
Well,
say. Yeah.
Vaibhav, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure listening to you. You have a very wise head on young shoulders, if I can put it that way. But I'm sure the audience would have picked up many insightful experiences which they can use in their own business world if they were to invest in India. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Vishnu. It was a pleasure to be with you. We, I think, had a great conversation. Seemed like sitting in our own homes and talking about life.
Exactly. Thank
So,
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vishnu.
Thank you for tuning in today's episode. I hope you liked it. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram to follow on more episodes coming up. You can also log into our website, that's www.octagona.co for further updates. Look forward to seeing you soon at the next episode. Thanks a lot.